You've been flim-flam, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, as always by Jerry Jones. Sounds like it, at least if we are to believe what Diane Russini has said, actually coming from the league meetings in New York, that talking to Jerry Jones, that they never made a call to the Raiders about Maxx Crosby. In fact, they're looking differently at adding help on the roster because of the Commanders game where the Cowboys took the Commanders' left hand and made them put it down. They had to put it down, okay? Jalen Daniels is now out next week and so on. So they're looking at it and thinking that they just need more time for their team to coalesce on the defense and learn the system. There is some to that. Also, we know that DeMarvion Overshown had his first practice today. Practice? Yeah, we talking about practice. Not the game. Not the game. We talking about practice. And so we're going to go to Diane Russini talking about exactly what she got from Jerry Jones. And you got to be careful what you get from Jerry Jones. Pause. But it sounds like, that is one of those things that sounds great. It's exciting for us fans. It drives the media. In fact, as you know, Jerry Jones believes in, hey, if the thing talking about it, I like stirring the shit up and getting things talking. Because, let's face it, he wants to be like WWE and just starting stuff, feuds and everything else. Let's go to the tape.
You're gathering. So let's start with somebody that you have spoken with, and that's Jerry Jones. Because the big news yesterday was the Cowboys are interested in Maxx Crosby. Well, a lot of cold water was thrown on that very quickly, Diana, as the Raiders have rightfully so said, we are not trading the face of our franchise. We are keeping Maxx Crosby. He is staying here. But what did you glean from Jerry and conversations you had with him today about this inquiry and what it means, maybe more so for the Cowboys?
Yeah, Dallas never even made a call to the Raiders. So that entire Maxx Crosby story was so exciting, I think, for Cowboys fans at the thought of it. But that is nothing that actually happened. Dallas never called Vegas about Maxx Crosby. And I don't believe the Dallas Cowboys really inquired specifically about a pass rusher. I know from talking to Jerry today that they are definitely taking a look around the league. But we had this conversation, and we've had it here on Scoop City, where, yes, teams that are in contention, that believe that they can go to a Super Bowl, want to improve. But if you can't get a player of the caliber that you need, it's not worth it. It's not worth giving up picks. And he made another point that I never thought about, James. He said, when you trade for a player, you usually are giving away something else. And his confidence and belief on the makeup of this current Dallas Cowboys team, he almost doesn't want to mess with it. Like, do I think that an additional player to help he would be open to if he thought that they could really make that big of a difference? Yes. But my takeaway from really discussing this upcoming trade deadline was they feel really good about what they have. He kept pointing to this Commanders game. He's like, this may be the game we look back at and say, that's kind of where it started, where it turned a bit, where we started to build momentum, and where Matt Eberflus and Brian Schottenheimer were able to really get a grip on what exactly they want this team to do and how to execute. And that, to me, was the biggest takeaway. Do I think they'll do their homework? Yes. Are they going to look around? Absolutely. I don't think they feel pressed to make a trade.
Okay. From the Raiders side of things, very quickly, I don't think, from everything I've always gathered, Diana, Maxx Crosby is not leaving that organization until he approaches the organization and says, you know what, I'd like to play somewhere else. And I don't think that's happening anytime soon. I think he loves playing for the Raiders, even though he sent me a message the other day, just the struggle, but at the same time, the love of playing for the Raiders. And then the other side with Dallas, I think they have some young pass rushers they're looking at. They think there's going to be growth and improvement to the likes of what you said about that Commanders game and maybe things moving forward. I think Demo coming back, I got a text from there a couple of weeks ago going like, we need him to come back. His window's been activated, some help on that defensive side of the ball. I think that's a big part. I was thinking about this and I wanted to get your take. If he would have been able to get the Micah Parsons deal done, And everybody remember, pump the brakes on the Maxx Crosby thing. You would have had to have all this money coming with Maxx Crosby, but also giving up picks. You would have had to have Micah Parsons without giving up any picks. It just actually doesn't make any sense. But if he was able to get this Micah Parsons trade done, deal done, and he made the 3rd round pick swap, and he just gives that up for George Pickens, and he gets Javonte Williams for next to nothing as a free agent. We're looking at Jerry as like executive of the year. Like there's been some moves here that have really worked out for this Cowboys team. It's been interesting. And now that offense goes, and they're going to face an elite defense in Denver, but also could be a get right time, honestly, for some guys in that building.
I'm glad you brought it up because we had a pretty extensive conversation about Micah Parsons, and I'm not going to share all of it because you don't want to hear every word. Jerry talks a lot. I'm going to be sharing a lot of that in my Saturday column on what I'm hearing to see some of this. But
love it.
I would say my takeaway from the Parsons conversation was specific to this past weekend. Because I said, Jerry, come on. The guy has a career day. And you're telling me you're looking at that situation thinking we wouldn't want him to be a Dallas Cowboy? He said, you think that when I trade away Micah Parsons, I don't think that these days are going to exist? Of course, Micah Parsons was going to have a Micah Parsons type day. He said, but the weekend that just happened was we also won, right? He's like, so I got a win and I've got picks, right? And he looked at it that way. So I think that's kind of how they emotionally manage it. Both sides can come out on top of this, and both sides can win. I do not get the sense, and we talked for almost 30 minutes, that he has any regret about moving Micah Parsons.
So, you heard it from the horse's mouth. I said, I guess that's not really a nice thing to say about Diane Russini. No disrespect, actually, I didn't mean that, but it's like the old saying. So, hopes of the Cowboys making a major move doesn't seem like it's going to actually happen. But then again, it could happen. We do believe that the George Pickens move was actually a great thing. We can look and say that the Javonte Williams thing was a great thing. That maybe they will look, maybe not on the scale of Maxx Crosby, but maybe they'll look on the scale of a team like the Miami Dolphins that are seemingly imploding and look at getting somebody like a Bradley Chubb. That would definitely help this team get a little bit better. And that's all I got. That's all I got. That's all I got, man. That's all I got. Yeah, she hungry. Man, hurry up and eat it. Taste the salmon. Don't listen. That's your bride of 30-some years. She cooked that. Come on. You can do it, Richard. You can do it. He looked like Mikey. Yeah, he won't eat it. He hates everything. That's Mikey. He's chewing. He's grabbing his drink. He's still chewing. He hasn't washed it down yet. Okay. All right. So much for the play-by-play. He don't like salmon. We'll just put it that way. All right, people. I appreciate you as always. Peace out.